Welcome, my darlings, to my humble chateau. Please make yourself very comfortable. Relax your mind and release your imagination to me. I will bring you a story to entrance and entertain. Perhaps a frightening one. Perhaps a steampunk. Perhaps a bit of mythology. Anyway, sit back, enjoy, and subscribe to me. The Radio by Trevor Smith. The leaves crackled and crunched under my boots as I dodged low branches and twisting roots. It was the first warm day in October, and I never passed up the chance to go hiking in the thick woodlands near my hometown. I always loved the woods. Something about the sound and smell always put me at ease, especially in autumn, with the sound of fluttering leaves combined with the view of hazy skies. I could practically smell the apple cider and pumpkin spice lattes. The air was heavy around me as I trudged along the path. Each step I took felt weighted, and my stomach twisted into knots, as if my body was trying to tell me to turn back. But I ignored it, telling myself that I had walked this path 1,000 times, and it was perfectly safe. The trail ran deep into the woods, most of it snaking along a steep hillside. The path was wide, though, and it was rare anyone fell. It was strange that I was alone as I walked. Usually dozens of people flocked to the path, but today it was just me and the birds. Suddenly, it was just me. Silence loomed over the forest. It was almost as if someone had hit a wrong button and accidentally muted everything. The crunching of leaves, the rushing wind, chirping birds, all of it gone in a single instant. The only sound stirring my eardrum was the pounding of my own blood gushing through my ears. I turned and ran, my eyes watching as the birds tore away from the trees and disappeared into the sky. That was stupid. I should have watched where I was going. My foot missed the trail and plummeted downhill. The rest of me quickly followed. My body ragdolled as I somersaulted and backflipped downwards. Sticks and twigs felt more like thorns as they scratched and tore at my skin as I fell, each stone and pebble violently burying itself into me. I thought I was going to die. With each added second, I could feel my life slowly fading from my grasp. Then, in a single instant, it was over. A massive pile of leaves had accumulated at the bottom of the hill from rainwater and wind. There's no doubt in my mind that if it didn't break my fall, I'd be dead. Leaves rustled as I stood. My hearing was back. I forced what just happened out of my mind and turned towards the hillside. Expletives flew from my mouth. There was no way I could get back up there. It was too steep, and with the leaves covering the ground, it would be difficult to find good footing. I took a deep breath and walked towards a small clearing in the distance. As I approached, the air grew colder and heavier. The trees and plants grew away from the area, reaching out to the rest of the forest, begging to be pulled to safety. Each step took more effort than the last until it felt like I was walking through a wall of mud. The pressure forced me back, trying to keep me away, but I foolishly pushed on. Suddenly the pressure stopped, bursting like a bubble. My eyes widened and my feet locked onto the ground. The clearing was small and was perfectly encapsulated by a line of trees. In the very center of the clearing were massive, jagged rocks, arching up to the sky like an unholy cathedral, and at its base lay its priest, rotting. The corpse sat against the stone, its legs outstretched, feet dangling. Its arms fell gently at its side, and its head sat, slightly cocked to the left. The whole body looked staged, like someone wanted it to look natural. Its eye sockets were empty, leaving a blackened stare. The tissue on its face had dried up and receded, leaving a twisted smile, but that was far from the most horrific thing about it. Its neck was twisted cleanly around in a complete 360-degree turn. Its flesh pulled tight against its distorted neck. My stomach ached as I imagined the sound it made as it snapped. I could feel each desperate beat my heart made in my chest as I stepped closer and closer to the body. I was surprised there wasn't any stench. The body was completely untouched by bugs or bacteria. It had slowly dried, leaving a hollow, mummified shell of a human. Not a single blade of grass dare grow near the body. Even the leaves refused to fall near it. The remains of a t-shirt and shorts clung to its atrophied limbs. At its side, delicately placed in its hand, was a dirt-covered radio. I snatched up the radio and let my legs pull me away from the clearing as quickly as possible. When the clearing was finally out of sight, warmth returned to the air. I looked down at the radio, trembling in my hand. It was old, really old, older than the body. But despite its age, it was in decent shape. Besides a few scratches, I held my breath, silently pleading as I switched it on. Static exploded forward. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? Is anyone hearing this? I'm lost. Please, I need help. I pleaded into the static. I pressed the speaker against my ear. It felt like an eternity had passed when a faint voice broke the silence.
I hear you,
the voice mumbled. I'm lost in the forest. I don't know where. Can you please? I started to reply.
Head east.
Oh, okay. I turned my back to the setting sun and marched into the night. Each snapping twig flashed an image of the twisted neck in my mind. My legs trembled and chills rushed down my spine. I quickened my pace. Something lurked in the shadows, just beyond my sight, behind every tree. Hidden in every crack and crevice was fear. Its prying eyes on my back. Why was it following me? Why couldn't I shake it? I turned to the radio for comfort. So, do you live near here?
Used to,
the voice replied emotionlessly. So are you, visiting then?
No.
The voice was cold. Every word it spoke reminded me of silence, empty and void. Are you,
Do you see the tall oak?
It grumbled. I froze and looked around. An oak tree sat right in front of me, reaching far into the sky. Without waiting for a reply, the voice told me to turn right. I did what it said. My stomach twisted and somersaulted. With the sun finally set, fear was free to roam around at its own leisure. The only thing keeping it at bay was the glow of my flashlight. The faint sound of a wolf's howl echoed in the distance. Something was wrong. Nothing made any sense. I listened carefully to the sounds around me. Then it clicked. The sounds weren't natural. The birds, the leaves, the animals, all of it played on a distorted repeat like a broken record. All of it sounded like someone imitating real noises. I charged deeper into the forest. The sound of rushing wind drowned everything else out. Between heavy breaths, I shouted into the radio, "Please, get me out of here, please. Something isn't right. Please, please!"
I can't,
the voice said. I skidded to a stop and looked down at the radio. "What the hell are you talking about? I need to get out of here!" Static was my only reply. The radio fell to the earthy ground as I looked up. I was in the clearing. I flashed my light over to the jagged rocks. The body was gone. I tried to run, but my feet stayed planted in the ground. Tears streamed down my face. The radio clicked off, and the static stopped.
Don't worry. You won't be lost for long.
The rotted voice whispered in my ear. So quoth this raven. If you enjoyed this, go peruse Trevor's other stories and give me a like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you want to come back. And if you comment, I promise to comment back. Bye-bye, my darlings.